What's up, guys? Leo Cannell here with today's Seven Figures Club podcast. Today, boys and girls, we've got a good one. We've got an expert, a CEO of a company that helps businesses grow by utilizing the power of LinkedIn. We've got Nicholas VERITY. He is the CEO of Cleverly, which is a clever name in of itself. It's the only B2B lead gen agency in the world with 700 plus five-star reviews. And in a world where you cannot hide from Google reviews, that is very impressive. He has bootstrapped his business to nearly $5 million a year in ARR in just 3 years. He and his co-founder are pulled completely out of the day-to-day. And at this point, they are here to serve business owners and teach them how to scale and grow their business by utilizing the power of what Gary Vaynerchuk says is the most underutilized social media app out there, which, my friends, is LinkedIn, one of my favorites as well. Nicholas, welcome to the podcast.
There are over 32 million businesses in the US, and over 90% of them will never break seven figures in annual sales. So how do we as entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs break into that seven figures club? This podcast will relentlessly share the secrets, strategies, and tactics I've used to create 3 multi-seven figures businesses and bring in even more successful entrepreneurs than me to share their inspirational stories and tactics to success. You can create your dream business and life right now. So buckle up and let's go.
Thanks for having me, Leo.
All right. So we always love to find out more about our guests in terms of experiences, upbringing, and ultimately what led you down a path of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, well, my parents, I grew up in Northern California and they ran kids inflatable bounce house business.
Nice.
And so
those are fun. I got 5 kids.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of great birthdays growing up. I always tell people that that's how I made friends. I just told them I have jump houses in the backyard. But yeah, so they ran that business ever since I was a kid. So I did some nice child labor for them growing up, caught the bug, just saw like the freedom they were able to have as business owners. Although it wasn't easy, probably people know that when you start your own business, you actually can work harder than an employee, but
only if you want to succeed.
That's true. That's a great point. So I learned it all from them. We were free to take vacations when we wanted, and that kind of freedom, I think, started me off. Then I went off to college and wasn't interested in courses at all. Like I was actually below a 3.0 student. But I started a bunch of side hustles that ultimately failed in college and joined a bunch of clubs and did my learning on my own through podcasts like yours as well. And that kind of kicked me off.
Nice. So your parents kind of brought up in a family. Parents are entrepreneurial, trying to create freedom and freedom of schedule, freedom of time, freedom of money, and they're teaching you, work ethics, and sounds like some great values and principles at that point. And then you get to college and you're like, oh, I don't know about this college thing. And some of our listeners have obviously realized that, you've got kids old enough to go to college. My oldest just finished his first year, and you're wondering about the value. He's probably going into engineering, one of the few occupations where college might be worth it, but it's certainly debatable on a lot of other topics, especially in business. So you're trying out different projects, different ideas, different entrepreneurial pursuits in college, and that's a great place to do it. What ultimately leads you and your co-founder to launch Cleverly 3 years ago? And what was kind of the problem that you guys felt that you could solve as good or better than anyone else out on the market?
Yeah, so my partner, it was actually his idea. He was like a 22-year-old sales rep for a real estate tech company, and he had to sell into giant like multi-family apartment buildings. And he had to get his own leads. And so what he did was found LinkedIn and just started blasting CFOs and COOs on LinkedIn. And he was kind of shocked to learn that they actually replied to him. And so he ended up getting a bunch of leads from it and saying, I think I can make an agency out of this. So he split up, met me shortly after, and then we became business partners. And at the time, the biggest problem on LinkedIn was twofold. One is business owners weren't using it for sales. It's mainly known as a recruiting platform, but as I can share later, you can build a targeting list of anyone on LinkedIn's platform really easily and message them for free. Like the connection requests are free. And so underutilization, but also spam. There's a lot of like messages I'm sure you get on LinkedIn that are completely irrelevant to you. And it causes businesses and people to think like, oh, everyone's kind of slimy on the platform. So we decided to take a different approach, help clients do it all for them, write them really like empathetic messages that actually get replied to. And we've just been iterating on that kind of mission since day one. And now we have a little over 1,300 clients, and we've just learned what works and doesn't on the platform.
That's awesome. When I had started a business finance marketplace company, back in early 2016, we grew really fast, and we did a lot of live events then. And then I had to regroup and relaunch, brought in the wrong types of business partners. And when I did relaunch in 2019, I really focused in on LinkedIn and finding, strategic partners who would want to refer us business of clients who needed financing. And it went really, really well. And we were able to sign up, hundreds, probably about 400 referral partners on LinkedIn. And at that time, you could really connect with people pretty aggressively. It seemed like you could send out anywhere from, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed like maybe it was like 50 to 100 connection requests a day. How has the platform changed in the last 3 years? And what are some of the, evergreen strategies that are still working on LinkedIn as it continues to evolve?
Yeah. So you're very familiar with the platform. I can tell. So we started out sending 100 connection requests a day 3 years ago. Last year, later in the year, LinkedIn came with a huge update and capped it at around 100 connection requests pretty much a week. So you can only send 400 to 500 a month, or LinkedIn will send you a notification that you've overdone the limits. So at first we panicked and said, oh man, LinkedIn's coming for us. And then somehow we just got smarter about the targeting list and copy. So instead of 2,000, 3,000 prospect lists, we're very hyper niche now. So lists may only have 500 connections in it, but they're all in a certain persona, like local business owners in the fashion industry in a specific city. And then we can like tailor our copy specific to that niche so that it doesn't look like spray and pray. And what actually happened was a collateral benefit as well of our clients being able to manage their inboxes better. Before, we would get so many replies that it was actually really hard to keep up with. And so now, much more targeted, much more qualified responses actually decreased our churn rate as an industry, as an agency overall.
Outstanding. So, there's different ways and business owners are trying to figure out and navigate the waters, like what's the best way to connect here with your ideal client on LinkedIn, on that platform. And so, there are different softwares out there. I know LinkedIn, quote unquote, frowns on the softwares. There's different groups that will kind of log in and actually have, live people making those connection requests for you. So you're kind of only dealing with an inbox of responses. What do you recommend? And what does Cleverly find success in that's working, right now in 2022?
Yeah. So the key, there's basically 3 or 4 major software players out there that automate outreach. They're all about the same. These tools are cheap, between $100 and $400. I think they're worth doing if you know how to build really good targeting lists and write really good copy. If not, what our agency does is we're just a done for you service, but anyone can do it on their own, even without software. What I actually recommend to anyone that hasn't sold on the platform is get Sales Navigator, which I'm sure you have. It's about $100 a month. And the sole benefit is you get like 30 filters that let you filter between their entire database of users. I recommend getting that and building your top personas in those lists. A couple of my favorite ones that I've seen almost anyone be able to get sales from are college alumni. So you can actually target people who went to your college and now started their own business or are qualified. That personalizer, just saying, hey, we both went to Cal Poly Pomona, tends to get a high connection rate, like well over 40% connection rates. Same with your local market. Like I recommend real estate agents, CPAs, everything, go after their local city as niche as possible. So LA, much bigger, but Santa Monica, even better. Those are people that are in your backyard. And you can typically see 30 to 50% connection rates just by doing that. And then my biggest tip for actually getting replies and conversations is not to pitch super hard right away. Actually asking a good discovery question like you would do on a demo meeting is a really good way to start conversations or to boost their ego. Like, hey, saw you graduated, congrats on starting your business. By the way, like, how are you doing X thing? So not a pitch, just kind of opening up a conversation.
And I think showing that you actually took a few seconds to read the LinkedIn profile and bio, like you actually know, oh, you're in this space with this company that you started or whatever, and it looks like you do this, but how does this work? Just that little extra bit of connection means everything. And I know if someone's done their homework and can point that out, and the outreach I get, and I'm getting dozens of connection requests every single day, because once you build that profile up and you get 15, 20,000 connections, then of course more and more people want to connect and so forth with you. So there's the actual direct connection, and if you get really good at the copy or working with Cleverly, then you can be connecting up with 80 to 100 of your top dream connections, could be clients, could be strategic referral partners every single week, which over time can really build your business substantially and really your influence on LinkedIn. What are some of the other ways, in addition to just connecting with ideal people you want to connect with on LinkedIn, that people need to be aware of, especially business owners, to kind of build and take advantage of this platform?
Yeah, what's been scaling and is, as Gary Vee puts it, underpriced attention is organic posting on the platform.
Yes.
So only 1 to 3% of profiles on LinkedIn are actually posting on the platform. And so you'll see that you'll post something and it'll get thousands of impressions. And so although not everyone might like and comment, you're actually getting all those people that you're hyper connecting with to view your posts over time. And then the key with that is just not posting nonsense or reposting your blog, but actually making something native to LinkedIn. And just if you scroll down your newsfeed and look at viral posts, copy their same formats. A lot of the times things that work are like contrarian, controversial opinions, how-to giveaways, lists, like the game. And so you can pretty much just scroll the newsfeed and copy people's posts, but I recommend posting on the platform. And then more importantly, liking and commenting on your prospects' posts. That's something no one does. They just think they have to come up with genius posts. It's just as easy to go to someone you want to sell to and start commenting on their posts. That actually builds goodwill. It makes it much easier to slide into
they might respond to you, and all of a sudden you've got a conversation, and then you can start direct messaging, and just so powerful. Just so many value bombs with what Nicholas is dropping here, guys. So number one, connecting with your dream client or referral partner, strategic partners, is a massive opportunity on LinkedIn. And it's really, you could try that on Facebook. It's not going to work very well. Maybe Facebook groups. It's definitely, it's just unlike any other platform out there. And the cool thing about LinkedIn is people are on LinkedIn really for one reason. They're on there to do business with quality people. And typically the average LinkedIn user does have a higher net worth, is a little bit more sophisticated and serious about building their business. And if you actually ask questions and show you really care about what they're doing, then you can build value and connect at a really amazing scale on LinkedIn. And the next value bomb Nicholas is bringing up here is, unlike all the other platforms where there's so much competition for posting, right now LinkedIn is kind of starving and hungry for content creators. And so if you can create quality content on LinkedIn, like I'll do a post Monday through Friday, and I've got posts that are getting literally over 100,000 views regularly. And they're exactly what Nicholas is saying. They're how-to posts. their posts about, a topic or something where there's a little bit of polarity, where you're taking a stand one way or another, but not, in any way, shape, or form where it's so controversial you're going to get censored or have issues there. It's just taking a stand on something you care about, that you're passionate about, and people will respond. And it could be as simple. I mean, I've got posts on there saying never, 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 never give up, and I have 6 or 7 lines about not giving up and a story about not giving up, and all of a sudden there's 25,000 views on it and 25 comments and 10 reposts. I'm like, dang, I didn't think that one would make that kind of impact. But that's the opportunity that you have on LinkedIn now. But I do think you can post and that's going to be helpful, but you got to be connecting at the same time. And so if you're not connecting, then there's a big miss right there. So this is amazing. So Cleverly, you now have 1,300 active, customers that you guys are serving in just under 3 years. And this is a recurring revenue type model, correct?
Yeah, so we copied it from the SaaS world and said we're just going to make it a subscription, and the predictability of that has been awesome for us. Yeah,
that is awesome. Congratulations to you guys. And so for the audience listening, and they're realizing, wow, there's this huge opportunity on LinkedIn, and they're like, well, I'd like to figure out more of the ways that I can do that. How does it work? What's some case studies maybe you can share about some of the customers that you've worked with at Cleverly, and what is the potential here?
Yeah, I'll give 2 examples. The first is a big client who does software development, which is a pretty saturated space. They take, you alluded to it, is kind of a Dream 100 approach where they sell to giant banks. So they built a list of Chase Bank, Amex, all the big credit card players and banks, only like 20 to 30 of them. And they've just been going after all their VPs and directors, which is thousands if you look at the totality of those companies. But by focusing on that account-based approach, they can get really niche with the copy and start conversations with all sorts of departments. And then all of a sudden it's like a snowball effect where they can say, hey, we're actually working with Jen who does, credit card refunds in this department. And then that's a foot in the door for another department. So they were able to break in and close multiple deals. Like, these companies are so big that you can close like multiple deals within them. So they've closed massive deals at the biggest banks in the US, Canada, et cetera, through this strategy of just persistency. Not that happened right away, but over time, nurturing, they're posting content, they're adding value to these people, and they're just getting on the phone and having conversations. So there's that. Another thing that worked for them, though, is they use the profile of their senior people, like even the CEO's profile, because they realize how important of a strategy it is to build credibility more quickly. And so that's a good example of someone who's closed 3 to 4 Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 50 companies at that, through the Dream 100 strategy.
So you guys recommend kind of focusing on 4 things with LinkedIn. And this is true no matter what you guys are doing, right? You got LinkedIn profile optimization, because what's the first thing someone's going to do when you send a connection request, when they see your post, is they're going to click on your name. And what does that LinkedIn profile tell them? And if it's like, motivated sales professional is a motivated sales professional who has experience within the bullshit. I mean, that is not going to convert with your LinkedIn profile optimization, Nicholas. So help us out. What is the right way to look at what your LinkedIn profile optimization should look like?
Yeah, the most important things are your profile photo, your LinkedIn headline, and then just having the rest of your profile complete. I think the biggest mistakes I see are super salesy headlines, or super generic headlines. Like, you'll see people with, I'm a digital transformation coach who helps companies realize their potential. And it's like, what does that mean? And so that's like the classic LinkedIn headline. Or I help business owners grow through strategic initiatives, like something very vague. So I always recommend something as simple as like my headline, CEO at Cleverly. You can put personalizers in, like I have clients that say blank, blank, surfer, guitarist, blank, like something personal that relates to people, as these are just one-on-one relationships you're building. A good LinkedIn profile, and then use your LinkedIn profile as a sales page. So that description under your company, under your experience, put your value props, put the common pain points you see, and then attach some like case studies or great press articles you've been featured in. Some very basic, simple tweaks you can make.
Absolutely. Do you recommend using emojis or any type of, art to kind of make your headline and so forth stand out?
Yeah, it's a good point. I do recommend emojis in the description. Anything just to break from the sea of the same on LinkedIn. Same with your cover photo. I have clients who show like them speaking on stage or their family on vacation, or something nice like Canva. I'm sure you know the design tool. You can it turns anyone into artists, even people like me who can't draw. And so it's pretty easy to make a good cover photo as well.
Definitely. All right. So we've talked about the LinkedIn profile optimization and then generating, deals and leads by connecting on LinkedIn. We've talked about that. And then with content and ghostwriting, again, what are some of the keys to success there? Because right now, like you said, there's 1 to 3% of users are actually posting, which means the odds you have of getting some success by posting on LinkedIn are extremely high.
Yeah, I'll say one of the hottest topics on LinkedIn, like you alluded to it earlier, is leadership and HR related posts. For instance, one of our employees, Alexa, got 3 million views on a post where she just talked about how she never wants to work in office again because we have a fully remote policy. And so just something on a hot topic like that there's so many just employees on the platform that resonate with that. Those tend to get
trending topic.
Yeah, those trending topics related to people, HR, management, for whatever reason, just tend to outperform almost anything else on LinkedIn.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then you talked a little bit about the Sales Navigator, where it's $100 a month. And what are some of the opportunities and understandings that you should have, and why you should probably be upgraded to that feature?
So if you have the regular LinkedIn profile, you can't save searches like lists, like prospect lists.
Yeah.
And you get far less filters. So the main reason why I use Sales Navigator, I honestly don't use it for anything else other than using their advanced search feature and to save lists of personas that I want to slowly connect with. Like Leo mentioned, you might want partners and referral partners as a list. You might want your Dream 100. You might want your local business owners. And so that's the benefit of Sales Navigator.
Yeah, no question. So the audience listening at this point is realizing, wow, there's a huge opportunity on LinkedIn. I need to get serious about this. And on this podcast, we always make the point that, listen, if you want to dip your toe in the waters and dabble, you're not going to be very successful. You need to immerse yourself in these topics. You need to take action in them if you want to really join the 7 Figures Club and grow your business to the top, 5%, hopefully someday the top 1% of businesses. And so to get there, they're looking at this and understanding, well, it's a big opportunity. I need to understand it better. What's the next step that they can take, something they can do right now today to take that next step and learn more about this opportunity?
Awesome. I'll give you 2. The first one is get Sales Navigator, build a list of 1 persona type that you would want to target, and just shoot off like 30 to 40 connection requests over 2 days. And be surprised at how many people accept that connection request. I think that'll give you the little boost you need to say, oh, if I scale this, I can get, 10 new connections every single week who I might want to sell to. That's like the big boost you're probably looking for. I would say just get started with that.
It's a great point. And make sure you guys are connecting up with someone you actually can do or want to do business with. One of the big mistakes I made at the beginning was just kind of connecting up with everybody. And while that seems like it's a terrible idea, you want to be really connecting up, because it doesn't matter if you have 10,000 connections, but very few of them you'd actually ever do business with. You have 500 that you can actually do business with. Those 500 will be worth much more than the 10,000 that you might have. So then the next thing you're thinking is, okay, it all sounds good, but I'd rather just have an expert help me do this, maybe even someone with Cleverly. So what are the different options that they can move forward with, or how can they connect up with Cleverly and see if this might be something worth taking a strong look at to really take their business to the next level?
Yeah, so I'll give you two options. If you go to cleverly.co, there's a lot of free resources. I recommend looking at our guide on lead gen, there's like a LinkedIn profile guide, there's a targeting guide, and there's a messaging guide so that you guys can try to do it yourselves without making too many mistakes. But if you want to learn how we work, we charge anywhere between $300 and $500 a month. Our most popular package is $400 a month. You can book a free consultation on our site, and it's fully done for you. So we build the list, we help you with your profile, we write the copy, and we send the messages. All our clients have to do is reply to leads.
Outstanding. So you guys kind of do a done for you campaign. So guys, go to Cleverly, that's Cleverly, cleverly.co.co. And there's a lot of different content here. Again, I'm honestly getting questions, for this interview here with Nicholas, just by going on his website, because they've got so much value and content here to help you understand how to become an expert on LinkedIn. And if you're in the business world, if you're wanting to work in enterprise sales or with business owners or with anybody who's serious, about really getting their money right. I mean, I find that at LinkedIn, more than any of the other apps out there, people are serious about succeeding in business. And so if you haven't, leveraged this, you need to take a strong look at it. And going to cleverly.co is certainly, there's 700 5-star reviews certainly means that some people are getting a lot of success with this, and it's worth you taking a look at and taking some actions. So check that out. And either way, make the commitment. When it comes to social media, you just want to kind of maybe start with one social media platform and really get some traction on that platform. And I certainly recommend LinkedIn. It may be the biggest opportunity out there. It has the most opportunity, especially with content. Like you guys who want to do some content, and it doesn't have to be, it's not near, I would say. What would you say in terms of LinkedIn and video content? What are your thoughts with that, Nicholas?
Okay, so I think if you're good on video, you should do video content. If you're not comfortable on it, I think you don't need to force it. I think you can get a lot pretty far on LinkedIn with just written posts if you're better at writing. But if you're really charismatic or good on video, then that can be an incredible way to go live as well.
Question. I was going to say, just in my experience, kind of comparing it to a Facebook, a TikTok, and Instagram, it seems like more than maybe the other platforms, you don't have to do as much video, and really unique posts seem to get as much or more traction than video ones. And as I scroll through LinkedIn, I don't see that much video. Maybe that's because maybe there's still a big opportunity in LinkedIn video. There's just not enough video creators out there, but I seem to see more traction with LinkedIn with just posts versus video. What do you think?
Yeah, I see the same thing. I personally don't have any videos on my profile. So I think it really depends, but LinkedIn is a unique platform where you don't need to do any crazy dancing or any complex videos.
Yeah, I agree. All right, guys. Well, cleverly.co. Nicholas, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast. Guys, take action, and we'll see you next time on the 7 Figures Club podcast.
Are you looking for more 7-figure secrets, content, or even how you can launch your own recession-proof business? Then check out 7figures.com. That's the digit 7, FIGURES.com, where we share more videos, stories, strategies, funding solutions, entrepreneurial education, and even the secret business type that's recession-proof. Thank you for listening, and if you're finding value in our podcast, please give us a 5-star and invite others to join the club.